John Lamb's background remains somewhat of a mystery, but he went on to live an extraordinary life that offers a fascinating insight into English political, religious, and even demonological culture in the 17th century. He was born in around 1545 and was clearly well educated as he was a tutor in Norfolk in his early years. By the early 1600s, however, Lamb was known as a leading mystic in England. Lamb began to advertise his services as a skilled sorcerer, and even offered to curse people's enemies for a price. For example, he claimed he could use sorcery to prevent others from having children. Local authorities in the 17th century were extremely alarmed by those who claimed to practice witchcraft, as shown by the witch crazes of the period across Europe and North America. As a consequence of this moral panic, Lamb was imprisoned for claiming to have supernatural powers. What happened next would change Lamb's life, as a number of those involved in the trial that sent him to prison suddenly died. It is likely that this was due to infectious disease spreading between people in the court, but popular opinion declared Lamb and his witchcraft responsible. He was thus transferred to a prison in London. Both King James I and King Charles I of England governed very closely with George Villiers, also known as the Duke of Buckingham. Buckingham was seen in some quarters as too close to occultists and was widely blamed for a series of military failures. His closeness with Charles was underlined in 1623 when he went with the future king to Spain to try and secure a marriage to the Infanta Mariana of Spain, a trip that would ultimately end in failure. Buckingham, keen to change the fortunes of his work, grew close to Lamb, who had been released from prison after he had been found not guilty of an accusation of sexual assault. Buckingham likely believed that Lamb had some mystic powers. Lamb's closeness to Buckingham hurt both men as rumours swirled of their supposed shared practicing of the occult. It was said that Lamb was fathering children with Buckingham's sister-in-law, while stories emerged of Lamb walking on water in the River Thames and commanding the weather to create storms. In a deeply religious and increasingly Puritan society, such stories were seen as Lamb embodying the devil on earth. He was again imprisoned when it turned out he was not as medically qualified as he had claimed, but he was again released. Upon his release, Lamb attended a play at the Fortune Theatre in Covent Garden, but he was recognized by a mob and chased out of the theatre, who viewed him as a dangerous occultist. Despite attempting to find sanctuary in nearby taverns and even paying some local sailors to protect him, the mob began to attack Lamb with stones and clubs. The next day, Lamb died of his injuries, aged around 80 years old. Despite pressure from the royal court, no one was ever convicted of any role in the lynching, illustrating the limits to royal power at this time and the increasing division between the crown and the legal system. Just 14 years after the attack on John Lambe, England would be thrust into civil war. Thank you for watching, and please let me know in the comments if there are any topics you would like me to discuss in a future video.